Welcome into the 2021 WAC Football Preview Day. I'm Rachel Vigil here in Houston, Texas, or Woodlands, Texas, if we want to get more specific, with some members of the Stephen F. Austin football team. How's everyone doing today? Are we doing well?
Doing great. Thank you, Rachel.
Good. I know you guys had a few other rooms that you were in and everything went well?
So far, so good.
All right. Well, that's what we like to hear.
Save the best for last, hopefully.
That's what I like to hear. I appreciate that. Alrighty, we do have head coach Colby Carthel with us, quarterback Trae Self, and then we have defensive lineman and the birthday boy Dennis with us as well. Happy birthday! Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you.
What's Dennis's last name?
You know, good question.
Osagiede.
Osagiede. All right. We took a few guesses, but Osagiede, Dennis Osagiede. Awesome. Well, happy birthday again, and. Is there any other way that you could possibly spend your birthday than here with us at the WAC?
This is the best way possible.
Well, that's what we like to hear. Well, Coach, I want to start with you real quick. And when you originally heard that SFA was going to be coming into the WAC, what was your immediate reaction?
Really excited, and it was something, we'd had conversations in the past, Ryan and I and our president, just on the vision of our, football program, but athletics and university in general, and really excited to be a part of the WAC. Commissioner Hurd and his vision for this conference, and to be part of bringing football back to the WAC, first time since I believe 2012, and we get to play that opener on September 4th. That's going to be a lot of fun, and so just a lot of great opportunities, a lot of great history and tradition with this conference, especially in football. National champions and Heisman Trophy winners, and my dad used to coach at UTEP back in the day when they were in the WAC, so it's been pretty special, and obviously we got something started, with the conference realignments, and now you see, Texas and OU moving on. So they say imitation's the greatest form of flattery, and they're all just trying to be like the Texas 4, I guess.
And you have two very special players next to you as well. Both have proven to be leaders. How much do you rely on them during the off season and even in season?
They're both part of our leadership council, and both have done a great job with us in their time. Trae Self was obviously one of the first recruits we signed there. He called me on the way home for Christmas. I'd been on the job about a month and didn't know what we were going to do, and then got that call. We had a quarterback committed. I had a much better Christmas there in 2019, just knowing type of person and player that he is, and then to add Dennis to the program last year was really big, and there was a big recruiting battle with him, and you got to win in recruiting before you can win on the field, and where we were able to do that, we knew we were again headed in the right direction with our program.
Now, Trae, for you last season, first winning season for the university since 2014, how do you keep that energy moving forward?
I would just say being consistent. We've grown a lot since 2019 and last year through COVID season. And 6 wins is nice, but I think we got more in us for sure, and we plan to go out there and win each game at a time.
Now, Dennis, obviously with the COVID year, what was the hardest part for you and your teammates?
I would think just adjusting to the protocol we had to follow. A lot of us just wanted to go out and play football, but with the pandemic going on, we had to do things differently, but we still got it done.
For all three of you, how excited are you to hopefully have a quote-unquote normal season this year?
What is normal? That's probably the biggest question. We're just excited to be back. We've kind of got, COVID in the rearview mirror, still working through, some things as a country, and everybody's handling it in their own way. But it has been nice to get back to a little sense of normalcy, and the fall, and football season be upon us. I mean, everybody's excited, 100% capacity the stadiums, and so it's going to be fun, not just for us, but I think for all the teams across the WAC and across the country to get back to a sense of normalcy with some fall football.
Now, Trae, I know for you, you have family members that live close, right outside of in North Richland, I believe, yeah. So 3 hours away from the stadium. How much does that help getting back, hopefully, fans in the stadium to be able to have your family there again?
It means a lot to me just to have my family there in general, but also to have the fans out there supporting us at SFA. It's going to be nice to have a full crowd again, and just like you said, get everything back to normal, and for the game of football, less distractions.
And then, Dennis, I want to talk to you. We've talked a little bit to some of the student athletes about NIL. I know you started your own clothing line, God Powered Clothing, this past year. What was the idea behind that?
So it originally relates back to my middle name. My middle name is Osagiede. That basically means in my tribe, God is power. So I've always had that idea for a long time, and the NIL stuff just kind of fell out the sky. And it was just a blessing that I was able to launch that personally.
How proud are you of that?
Pretty proud. I've been working on it for a minute now, so I'm glad I kind of got it out the ground.
And Coach, for you to be able to see student athletes have the ability to do these types of things, some people look at it as a distraction, others love the idea. What's your feedback on it?
I think it's been long overdue. I think the NCAA was way behind on getting that done, and these guys do so much, and I think it's awesome to see them benefit, and it's going to, pay a lot of dividends. It's going to allow, some players that, maybe try to leave early to go to the NFL because they feel like they got to make money. If they're able to make a little, while they're in college, they can stick it out for that, senior year and get that degree. Because bottom line, college football is still about getting a degree, and there's a lot changed across the college football landscape. But whether you play on the NFL or not, the main thing that you play for is you got to walk across that stage and get that degree. And so I think this allows an easier path for players, across the country to do that. And so I think it's long overdue.
You have one of the top 5 FCS recruiting classes the past 2 seasons. How important is it to bring in those players for years to come?
We've been very, very blessed. We recruit a little differently than everybody else. We're very slow and methodical, and we try to recruit first and offer second. And we don't make a lot of offers out there, and just try to find the right fit, because that's with the one-time transfer rule that's come in, and culture is going to ultimately win in college football, and that's where we've been very, very diligent in the 2.5 years we've been here to water the roots and not the leaves, and not to build it, build a championship program from the ground up. And I think tip of the hat to our president, Dr. Gordon, and our athletic director Ryan Ivey for giving us the time and the resources to do that, to where you can build a true program that is going to win on a consistent basis year after year after year. And you do that, I think, by signing great high school classes. And so we've got out there and done the work. And to be honest with you, SFA and Nacogdoches, the Piney Woods, they kind of sell themselves. If you can get kids on campus and do your homework on them, get the right kids on campus, you're going to get them signed. And that's what's been fun. And so we've had a relatively young team. In 2019, we played 37 freshmen, and those guys now are 37 sophomores, but with 2 years of experience. And so we're still young on paper, but we've got a lot more experience, and I think a chance to have a pretty special season this fall.
Now, Trae, for you, being one of the older teammates, how can you help mold these younger ones?
Just lead the way for them. Just show them what the right and wrong things to do, and just be a leader on and off the field. I think it's a big thing, and just help them grow and mature as they go through the process that Coach is putting us through.
Any games you guys have circled on the calendar for this year that you're looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to Tarleton. That's the first one. That's the only one that really matters. And thank you much, Commissioner Hurd, there, putting a conference game first right out of the box. That puts pressure on us as coaches, because you got to be ready, because you're playing a conference game. That has conference title implications on it, game one. So we've had a great spring, a tremendous summer, and now it's on us as coaches and as a team to be prepared to hit the ground running there September 4th. And that first one's always the most important, and get your season off to a great start. So that should be a fun one out in the Piney Woods.
What about for you guys?
I would say every game. I mean, we look forward to playing football. Just at the end of the day, you got to take one game at a time, and we want to win the WAC, and you got to do that by playing each game and winning each game.
I'll say the same every game, but mostly the first game. We got something to prove, so I feel like that first game we're going to be ready to, take on Tarleton.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much. We are now going to open up to the media down here.
Hey, Coach Carthel, it's Rob Hipp here, KSAM Radio in Huntsville. First and foremost, love your boots. I'm going to get with you later. We'll figure out. I love those, man.
Blue KC Elephant, baby. Only way to go.
Coach, the rivalry for Sam and Stephen F. Austin dated back to 1923 at the Battle of the Piney Woods. So excited that that's going to return. The first time not having that last year. There were so many negatives with COVID, but a lot of positives as well. Just wanted to ask you some of the positives coming out of your program having to go through that experience.
That was an interesting time for all of us, and as we got done with spring ball there and spring break hit, and then the world stopped turning, had to turn everybody loose. So the positive was we got spring ball done, but we never had an off season, and that's going into the fall last year. What do we need to do, and what SFA football needed to do, and that was play in the fall. That was what was best for us, and I think every program across the country made the decision that was best for them and their program and their institution. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer out there, but it really favored us and what we were able to do. We were able to have a very successful fall campaign. We played 4 FBS games, which we were able to, bring in some guarantee monies, which helped all our sports play throughout the year with the costs of COVID and everything else that went into that. But these guys got to play in the Sun Bowl and the Liberty Bowl and Alamo Dome and eat some world-class barbecue out there in Memphis. And, and more importantly, we were able to learn how to win as a program. We were still a very young team. And, that's part of the growth is learning how to win. And we went on a stretch there where we won 6 games in a row. We beat every team we were supposed to on paper. And I think that was, I felt like it was a very, very successful year for us. But then turning the page into the spring, that was what we saw and we understood to be the best route for us, because these great recruiting classes that you talk about, we'd never had them through an off season. And so we had a good-looking young team out there, but they looked like a bunch of good-looking, high school players. And so we were able to finally go through a true off-season program this spring with our team. The guys that we recruited have had a tremendous summer, 8 weeks of summer access. And so now they're starting to look like college football players out there and fill out a little bit. And we had, we had 6 players that started shaving this year. So we're getting, a little bit older now. And that's what's going to be fun this fall is we're just, look a little bit more like a Division I college football team is supposed to. And I think you'll see that in the results of our fall campaign.
Coach Chris Mykowski, ESPN Plus. You had the most viral celebration, I think, of the fall season last year. Tell us how that happened to begin with, and what would it take for you to swing your shirt again?
Oh, you were talking about after the ASU game? That one?
Did you have another one that I missed?
That one, I blame y'all, the media. We were on national TV there, and, that was a big game, okay? That was a big game. That was the only conference game we were playing. We'd billed it as the fall conference championship and had lost in double overtime to ACU the year before, and knew that would be a measuring stick for our program. And obviously is back and forth and went into overtime. And, basketball, you've got game-winning shots. Baseball, you got walk-off home runs. Football, very seldom, does the game end in a walk-off type situation, but it does in overtime. And as a head coach, you've got to go shake that other coach's hand. You're looking around, make sure your guys aren't being idiots, and, then you get them all. And ESPN, they had said, we're doing an interview with a game-winning coach. I went over to the gal, and she's like, no, the game went long. We're off air. And, we had the guys gathered up to pray and make announcements. And they started telling me I wasn't excited. And they were distracting me and hit me with that water. And so I was like, I'll show them excited. And, kind of forgot I was not in the locker room. And, their dad, ripped my shirt. We had fun. It was awesome. And we prayed and got out, put my shirt back on, saw family and friends, and go back in the locker room 20 minutes later, and they're like, got their phones out. Coach, you were on national TV, went viral. I was like, oh, baby, I may lose my job on this one, But, the positives of it, I think everybody across the country and across the world saw what a lucky lady Sarah Carthel is, the dad bod and everything else. And then, our university, they've got a way to, quantify all that stuff. And it did $4.7 million worth of ad equivalent revenue, for SFA. So it cost us nearly $5 million to get that kind of, exposure. And so that tells you one thing. I've been in the wrong profession. I probably should have been a Chippendales dancer or something, I don't know. But it was fun. It was a great moment and, slightly embarrassing. But there are a lot of people take themselves too seriously, but I'm not one of those. So we rolled with the punches and, went on, won 6 games, had a great year. And it's something we'll all look back on and laugh. And it was a good time.
Hey, Coach. Dylan Crowley from Texas College Football. So, you've had a lot of success in your coaching career, bring a winning season to SFA in just 3 seasons. What's the big key for you to turning the program around, and what do you do to make sure your players are always bought in?
I think the most important thing in turning a program around is getting the right people in the building, and that starts with hiring a staff. And I believe in taking time with your hires and just getting, from the head coach down to the, guys running the equipment room. It's important that everybody that touches our players, that's around our players, that touches our program, that they're the right kind of people, and because this is a people business. And so getting the right people in the building from a staff standpoint, and then recruiting, and again, when this guy called me late December there in 2018 and committed, I knew we were in good shape, and we put together, hadn't won a game. I mean, we were rotten and hadn't had anything to sell, but we just, went out and told those kids, believe in the vision and what we're going to do, and history will repeat itself. And being able to get the right guys in those recruiting classes, understanding it's going to be a process. And we're not after instant success. We want to build a program that's sustainable, that wins at a high level and competes on the national stage. And not ever promised anybody a national championship, you never do. But, I do promise that we will compete at the national level, and we've taken a couple steps, and I think we've got a chance to have I believe we have a really, really good football team right now. We have a chance to win a whole bunch of ball games this fall. We're excited as a staff. Our players are excited. What defines success this fall is to be determined. And so I think it's a challenge for us as a staff and as players to take that next step and go from good to great. And that starts, September 4th. But we're trying to build it the right way, and I think we're well on our way there. And even back to last year, we're playing Memphis. They played in the Cotton Bowl the year before, and we were beat to heck and had a lot of guys out, but we still went toe-to-toe with those guys. It was, I think, 17-14 rolling into the fourth quarter. And what's exciting about that is we took 5 or 6 players on that trip, and I believe 49 of them were freshmen or sophomores. And those guys are all freshmen and sophomores again this year. So, the strength of our team is still in our youth, and we're just going to get stronger as years go by. So, but it's going to be a fun fall campaign for 2021 Lumberjacks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Coach John Kruger from the Daily Sentinel. Last year was such a difficult year, obviously, with the COVID situation and everything. Talk about maybe some of the positives that for your particular program that you pulled out of that because of the requirements and the dedication that you and your staff and your team had to have to keep everything going.
That's a great question, John. And I think, starting with day one, when we sent them home there after spring break, we kind of made a pact as a team that, this COVID, this pandemic, nobody knew a lot about it or what it was going to entail, but we made the decision that this is going to make, we knew this was going to make excuse makers out of a lot of people across the country. It was going to make champions out of a few. And we were, dead set on making it, the Lumberjacks are going to be champions coming out of this deal. And we're not talking about our one-game championship against ACU. We're talking about bigger and better things down the road. And so I think every day, we put our best foot forward. It allowed us to do a lot. Everybody learned how to Zoom. I didn't know how to spell it, last February, but we were able to do a lot. And we did so much growth, I think, through those 4 or 5 months, just, from a character building and growing together as a team. And then coming back through and choosing the lonely road to play last fall. Played 10 games, more than anybody else in the country in FCS, and it was a path less traveled, but we did it together. We grew together. We did what we had to do to play and do it safely and successfully. And then just off the field, these guys part of the leadership council, and 2020 was such a trying year, for our country, with the social injustice and the election and everything, George Floyd, everything that came with 2020, and the growth within our locker room, within our team. And I think you ask anybody to a man, trainers, managers, coaches, players alike, probably the highlight of our year was the Thursday before we played Memphis. And we spent the whole day at the Lorraine Motel, which is a National Civil Rights Museum. And anybody that's never been there, I'd highly recommend it. It's awesome and a moving experience for everybody. And I think that was, in my mind, kind of the pinnacle of our 2020 season. And so there's just a lot of real positives. Everybody has a negative outlook. Oh, COVID, it was terrible. Life is what you make of it. And I thought there was a lot of positives last year. And again, we did what we needed to do, and now we're set up, I think, to have a very successful campaign this fall.
Question for the players. The WAC is a very storied history, especially when it comes to football, and there's some great players that have worn that WAC patch, Heisman Trophy winners and Pro Football Hall of Famers. What does it mean to you to not only lead SFA into the WAC era, but to be able to be on the same page as some of those players in terms of having played football in the WAC?
It means a lot to us just to maybe follow their path and start a new change for this program and have some names on our team become in that list of Hall of Fame or Heisman Trophy winners and stuff like that. It means a lot to follow the tradition.
Piggying off what he said, we're basically trying to build what we're doing here from the ground up. And in doing that, we have to become those type of players that once were in the WAC before, So it's an honor. We're excited. We got a lot of good teams on the schedule. It's just we just all see it as good challenges each and throughout the year.
One last question. Obviously, SFA is joining the WAC in all sports. A lot of teams are going to be coming to Nacogdoches for the first time. What's the go-to place for those teams to eat pregame?
You're asking me?
Anybody
I
wants
look
to
like
ask.
I eat? Hey, that's one thing about NAC. There's not just one. It's what type of food you want. You let me know what you want, and I promise we can point you in a direction you're not going to leave unhappy or hungry.
What's your go-to place? If you have to go one place to eat, where are you going?
I don't know. There's a lot of like hole-in-the-wall like barbecue joints in NAC. I don't know. My favorite would probably be like CC Smokehouse.
I really like Butcher Boys on North Street. It's a nice little barbecue place. Yeah, they do their thing over there.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, so is that going to be your birthday dinner tonight then?
Not today.
Not today.
I had
All
it
right,
recently.
next time.
That's the only reason why. I had it recently. So
We
Gotcha.
at Casa Medina on the way here for lunch. You know, they hit us up on Twitter. That's a place to go, and it did not disappoint. But we're going to take care of this guy on the way home. He will go home fat and sassy on his birthday. I promise you.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, thank you for the laughs. Happy birthday, and then we wish all the best of you, or all three of you, the best of luck this upcoming season.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
For those of
appreciate
you
it.
tuning in on the WAC Digital Network and Facebook Live, we will be back at 3:30 with Sam Houston. Stay tuned.